Hey guys, this is Ken here. I want to show you what I've been working on the last few weeks for the MongoDB challenge. So I wanted to look at Paradise, California, and if you remember back in November, it had that large fire called the Camp Fire. I was interested in seeing how the vegetation changed in the area and kind of how that relates to um, climate action plans that a lot of local governments are enacting to help, reduce CO2 emissions and clean up the environment, things like that. So if you see here, I have a map here on the right, which I'll display some map data, and then over here on the left, I have some statistics on that data, which I'll go through in a second. So I got this data from Landsat 8 satellite, which collects imagery around the world every 16 days. And the U.S. Geological Survey makes this available for free to download. So I use that imagery to analyze the vegetation health in 2018 and 2019, so before and after the fire. So in this area, the places that are darker and green are healthier vegetation, and then those lighter areas are less healthy. So over here you can kind of see some water bodies, obviously not a lot of vegetation there, and you see a lot of dark green areas here. Um, so this is before the fire, and then after the fire, you notice a pretty large change in this area. And the fire actually started from kind of like the northeast, and then spread and burned through this area. So I took these two data sets and I compared them, and if you see this area in red, that's where there was a loss in healthy vegetation. Yellow is kind of neutral, and then green is where vegetation actually grew um, after the fire. So over here, I did some statistics and I calculated the healthy vegetation in the Paradise town boundary. And there's about 10,000 acres in 2018. And after the fire, that went down to about 2,000 acres. So that's about a loss in 75% of vegetation. So I looked up a number and determined there's about $1.5 million to reforest that burn area. And since Paradise is primarily a forested area, that's kind of like the cost to replant pine trees. And for that same area, that forest that was lost, there's a CO2 uptake loss of about 140,000 metric tons a year to 35,000 tons. So that's a number that shows how much CO2 is being captured out of the air by that forest. In other words, the forest was taking out about 31,000 cars per year, and now it's at about 8,000. So using this information, stakeholders and local governments, counties, things like that, they can quickly see what the impact their climate action plan is. Kind of look at some rough costs of what it might take to remedy that situation. And when they're helping people build their lives after or rebuild their lives after natural disasters, they don't really have time or even the resources to build something out like this or investigate impacts on certain goals and policies. So I want to make it a really easy tool that they could use that help them make data-driven decisions and keep moving forward on their climate action goals. So yeah, thanks for listening, and check it out on the website, and I'll have more details on the post. Thanks.